Welcome to Hello Soul, the Virginia Scheuer Show. Today we're talking about big happenings deserve a light touch. We'll be delving into conflict and contrast, what that means, how we can create a lighter touch, why that's necessary, and why you deserve to access your soul in even the darkest times. Are you ready? This one's big. Let's do this. If we're going to talk about manifesting, we've got to talk about contrast. We've got to talk about the conflicts of life. We've got to talk about what is going wrong so that way we can also pay attention to what is going right. I love the law of polarity. It says that one thing cannot exist without the other, opposite. So if the sun is here, we have to have also the night sky, the darkness. If we have, maybe we have high and low. We cannot have a high if we do not have a low. And it's the same thing with creation. We actually can't have a manifestation, a creation, without something conflicting happening. And I really like to use the word contrast because it softens the word conflict and it allows us to see the polarity that it's not right or wrong. When something happens that activates us inwardly with our feelings, when we get a big feel on the inside, an activation, that creates a contrast. It lets us see the light and the dark. It lets us see the high and the low. And it all exists. The low does not exist without the high, and the high cannot exist without the low. Creation, manifestation cannot exist without the hardship on the other side. It's how we process, it's how we view, it's how we frame what is happening in the hardship that can allow our life to be felt as in flow, or felt as in stuck, or felt as in hard and grimy and gross. And if we can reframe conflict to be just the opposite of what we want, and we can turn that around and we can make that better, we have the power within us to do this. Whoa, things change in our perspective, and all of a sudden the difficult and the hard can actually be moved through in a way that's very, very healthy. And so I want to bring to us today that big happenings deserve a lighter touch. That's the theme. Big happenings deserve a lighter touch. And understanding the most base concept of contrast is going to help us when something is created. So think about this in the most base form. Birth, a human being. When a human being is created, it has to split open and make the opening wider from the mother than she ever thought she could have capacity for. Or there has to be a tear to break open the womb, the stomach, for the person to be able to come out. Either way, there has to be tearing, there has to be a break that happens in order for that creation to happen. It is the same thing with mountains. Mountains cannot be made without the earthquakes, the storms. The topography of our earth cannot be created without the oceans ascending and receding. We cannot manifest without a conflict, a contrast happening. And so therefore, if those things, those hard things happen for the purpose of creation, how can it be wrong? If we take the right and wrong out of the light and the dark, if we take the right and the wrong out of something happening, it opens the door for us to process. It opens the door for us to see things in a new way, reframe things, a new perspective, gain clarity, gain more ease in our life. That's the lightness practice. The lightness practice allows us to be able to feel what is happening in our body when something feels like it's going wrong. And then as we feel, we're allowed, permission granted, to not feel bad about what you feel, to not feel ashamed of feeling. Permission granted to have your moment. Then you're allowed to find the soothing. You're allowed, permission granted, to find what's good. Permission granted to be a little distracted, to get yourself some relief. Then we can focus on what matters right there in the present moment, and we can flow into our becoming by taking that reframe, taking a perspective shift, allowing ourselves to see what's good, and flow and flow and flow into that. You were meant to climb mountains. You were not meant to carry mountains. I love that. Najwa Zebian, quote, "These mountains that you're carrying, you were only meant to climb." So acknowledging what is not meant for you to carry. What is this heaviness that you're not meant to carry? Honoring what's yours and what's not, what you can give to God, the universe, and what you can take on in your own. Understanding that contrast is actually always here for you. And we can, through the work, through the processing, through feeling our way to the present moment, we can allow ourselves to have a little reframe game, to have a little understanding of the truth of what is. See, in the moment, you can say, this sucks. Whatever the situation is, this sucks. And then we can come into the balance of finding the truth of the other things that are surrounding this experience. We can find ourselves in the present moment. I have a little exercise for you. And it comes from the work that I did in acting, actually. And I call it moment-to-moment work, just like we would call it in acting. And it was all about, it comes from the Meisner technique, and that is finding the truth of the present moment. And many times it was looking at our partner and finding something that is real and true, that we find real and true. Like there's an eyelash on your cheek. You're holding a pencil. You are feeling the chair, or I am feeling the chair right now. The chair is smooth. The chair is rough. You've got a zit on your face. Like it was very in tune with the present moment. And then from that, out of that, we were able to find our authentic feeling, find our authentic truth in the moment of the given imaginary circumstances and acting. But in real life, how can we apply this? In real life, moment to moment work is making conscientious shifts into the present when we're feeling our moment of activation, our moment of coming into a trauma state where we are reacting in a way that doesn't feel good. Acknowledging with our five senses, one of our five senses, seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, touching, what is right now in this present moment. And starting deep breaths and moving the energy with our breath, getting oxygen up to our brain. That feels really, really good. Feel that oxygen come up into the brain. Allow yourself to see what is in the room, to make contact with it. Find something that soothes you. Maybe it's making some hot tea. Maybe it's walking outside and getting a breath of fresh air. Maybe it's sitting down and breathing and doing your breath work through meditation. Whatever that is, finding that space for yourself of soothing, and then understanding that the feeling good, the feeling better than you felt before, maybe good is too strong of a word, but feeling better than you once did before is going to provide you the clarity you need or you're wanting for the situation later. Not right now, because you're in the acute phase of feeling whatever it is you're feeling. After you've found that soothing, focusing on what matters in the moment. And maybe it's not even the situation. Maybe what matters is focusing on what's good about your child in front of you, or focusing on a task at hand that is wanting to be done. Maybe focusing on just taking a moment, looking outside and focusing on that, focusing on what's good, and then flowing from that state. And if you need time, just work those steps until you find yourself in a flow state that feels better and better and better. And through feeling better and better and better, getting back to nature, maybe drinking water, maybe doing something good for yourself, and feeling better and better, you will have the clarity that you wanted when you didn't feel so good on that situation. You're actually flowing into a vibrational state that is allowing you to come closer to what you want in everything in your life when you are in that good feeling state. That's the manifesting. That's the part that we want. That's the juice. All of it is necessary. Going back to the feeling, understanding that it's okay to feel that way. Understanding that there's clouds that are hiding information that you can't see right now. That this can actually work for you. Good example is getting stopped by the cops because you're speeding or something silly. You say, oh my God, this is so frustrating. And you can get kind of perturbed that you're being pulled over and this and that. Yeah, have the feeling. But then do the steps. Find your way out of that feeling so you can have that clarity that you're looking for. When you acknowledge the feeling, you don't have to sit in that feeling for very long if you're working these steps. because the feeling might come back a few times, but it's eventually going to dissipate because of your reframing, because of your present moment work. It's a combination of both. It's the present moment and it is the reframing. It's the present moment, getting in touch with what is, getting in touch with what you know to be true in your soul, what you know to be true in your heart of hearts. And then reframing life in a way that fits the perspective of source energy, of God, all that is. The universe sees this in a way that is in that 10,000 foot view. The universe sees this in a way that sees you from when you were born, beyond. It understands all of this and how it's all working out with you. By taking a reframing and understanding and getting in touch with your soul, you can actually be able to process things without having to sit in the pain very long. Let's talk more about that. So let's talk more about what the soul knows. Your soul, your core essence, is the great connector. It connects you to higher power, to God, to all that is. And it allows God to flow inside of you. There is a knowing inside of you, a knowing of who you are. Remember, who you are at your core is good, is light, is love. That is who you are at your core. And when you can access who you are at your core, you have the ability to see things as your soul, as your source sees them. So when you're in the midst of the trouble and the pain, when you start to find the soothing and you start to feel the good, accessing that good feeling is actually accessing who you are at your core. And when you're accessing who you are at your core, you can actually get insight about the situation that is the truth of the situation. The truth of the situation is that everything is working out for you. Everything is in divine timing, in plan, in order. And you can allow it to be so. You have permission to release the resistance. You have permission to feel the safety of soul who is there for you. You have permission to feel the safety of God and the divine watching over you. You have permission to feel the safety of the people that have passed that are there for you, around you. Your guides, your angels. You have permission to access that even in the darkest of times. And the portal to access that is feeling good. The portal to accessing that is finding what's good in the moment. The portal to accessing that is feeling the fresh air, is to hear the birds sing and enjoy it, to allow yourself to giggle because you see something funny. The portal to your soul is accessed through finding the love of the situation, finding the relief of surrender, finding the relief of giving it all up. Your soul is you, and you are there. You are there with you in the hardest of times. You are there to connect upward, to connect downward into the ground. You are there to connect with all that is. And your entry point is finding the good. Your entry point is giving yourself a break and not being so hard on yourself. Your entry point is breathing the deep inhales in and the deep inhales out. Your entry point is to not allow the premise of someone telling you that you are bad and that you are wrong, and allowing yourself to feel who you truly are, who is worthy. You are worthy to access goodness when there's something bad that feels happening. You are whole. You have the access point to feel that in your roughest of times. Feel how that sits. At the deepest core of who you are unconditional love. What does that even mean, unconditional love? That means that no matter the condition, no matter what's going on the outside, you're allowed to love. I just want to leave it there. Let me know how that feels. Let me know how that resonates. And we'll connect more next time. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please do leave a comment on YouTube if you're there, or leave a review, a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. Wherever you are, please let me know. And I'm really excited to meet you next time. These drop right now on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So be ready for the next, because I'm ready for you.